Will the government's one-in, one-out deal cut channel crossings? 0207862 2222 is the number. Get your calls in now. The so-called one-in, one-out deal, agreed with France, will come into force this week. It allows the UK to send people who've crossed the channel back to France in exchange for asylum seekers who may have ties to Britain. There have been reports that 50 people a week could be returned initially, compared with the weekly average of more than 800 people currently making the crossing. Let's have a look at how the new plan might work. An adult migrant who tries to get to the UK by crossing the Channel could be returned to France if their claim for asylum was deemed to be inadmissible. I think that's really interesting language that they're using. Then, migrants in France can submit an expression of interest application to enter the UK legally. So that's one of these legal, legitimate routes that we're hearing so much about. Anyone who arrives by small boat and is returned to France won't be eligible for UK asylum. So if you take that trip across the Channel, go back, if you try it again, then it's going to be pretty summary, your return to France after that. This is one of what might be called a group of measures. I'm going to avoid the term raft that the government is doing as part of their extra £100 million funding pledge. We've also got 300 extra National Crime Agency officers. A new, and this is what they're calling it, state-of-the-art set of technology, undercover cameras and listening devices, adding to that 5-year prison sentences for anyone advertising migrant crossings. And as we've said before, establishing safer routes so there's no excuse, effectively, Mike. If people do come over, they had a legitimate route that they could have chosen, and yet they've still chosen to engage in an illegal activity, be part of that illegal trade. Is it going to work?
No, it won't work. Nothing works with the migration situation unless you say we have a concrete way of stopping these people coming. Once they're here for life. You know that. 97% of people who arrive on these shores never, ever get deported or sent back.
Well, this is saying the opposite.
No, it's not.
97%, I quibble with that. That figure is wrong.
OK.
It's 97% of people who come here do not stay here. 97% is completely
Some go
wrong.
back voluntarily. What I'm saying is, of those who want to stay here and have entered the country illegally,
the applications,
97%
are not granted
this is the answer
status.
To your answer to your dreams, then, Mike, because this is saying that if it's inadmissible, if their claim is inadmissible, they will be sent back to France.
It won't work.
A safe country.
It won't work because no system works. Because there's no will within this government to stop people coming here. They don't want to stop people
when this demonstrates the will?
Why do you think they don't? Why do you think they don't want people?
Because they've got an open door for immigration. You know that. They have got an open door on immigration. If they didn't have, why wouldn't they take more notice of these mums who are trying to protect their children by sitting in front of hotels and saying we don't want those people in this country. We fear for our families.
Might I suggest that the people who had an open door policy were the Conservatives? Boris Johnson blew the gates wide open.
I totally agree with you. Do you know, in the 2 middle years of Boris Johnson's reign, the numbers coming went up from 8,000 to 25,000 in 1 year. Absolutely his fault.
Keir Starmer and Yvette Cooper have inherited a system that was completely...
And they don't want to stop them coming.
They do want to stop them.
They do not want to stop them coming.
OK, so why...
Because they'll upset their European partners if they start stopping them coming.
There's nothing wrong with upsetting the European partners, and they don't mind upsetting them.
You're joking? Keir Starmer's wedded to the European partners that he wants to bring in.
Mike, let's be grown up about this.
I'm being grown up about it. You're being naive.
No, I am not. I'm just saying the only way we can get to grips with this problem if we have cooperation, particularly from France.
No, we can put a naval vessel in the Channel and say no further. That's what we can do.
Mike, that is pie in the sky.
No, it's not pie in the sky. You just think it's pie in the sky.
International marine law will not any kind of...
In that case, we ignore it. We ignore it.
Mike,
so what you want to shoot them? What are you going to do?
Of course you want to shoot them. You want to safely return to where they came from. Matt, can I just ask you, explain this system to me, please, one-to-one. How does that work? All right, you explain it to me. If one comes here and we return that person is replaced by another person, right? Well, that's equal. That doesn't mean that anybody's leaving because you're bringing somebody in its place.
But it means that there is now, thank goodness, because we have better relationships with France, thanks to a lot of hard work on the part of the government and invoking...
You mean giving in to the French?
No, and invoking King Charles as soft power with a state visit to Macron. That all helps. For the first time, we now have a foothold in France, which means that that migrants can be processed, if you like, as for a safe route.
They won't be.
Safe route. The treaty's being ratified today.
No, we don't even know what it is yet.
And it starts tomorrow. Now, the thing is, Yvette Cooper, I watched on television this morning, she said it is not a silver bullet. We never said it would be, but it's a start. It's a trial scheme, and we have to do... We have to try. So it's people who have family here, who, if they arrived, say, on a plane or in a boat, would legitimately be given citizenship.
They say they've got family. We don't know they've got family. We don't know the
answer.
They will check up in that
They won't, because
let's take some calls on this. We've got loads coming in. Josh is in Coventry. Do you think the one in, one out policy, for what we know about it at the moment, Josh, is going to work?
Morning, Matt. I don't think it will. I agree with Mike. I think the main issue is that we need to deal with the backlog that we've already got before, returning and taking in more people. I think we need to process the people we've got at the moment, whether that be offshoring them or allowing them to stay. And I think that's the main thing, rather than taking more people in. And I think in the national interest of security and safety, and even just basic resources, we need to deal with the people we've already got here.
We've got human trafficking happening in the Channel. Surely that's the priority, Josh. And dealing with that has got to be ahead of any backlog, any bureaucratic backlog. We've got to stop people making this perilous crossing.
Yeah, I think we have tried to. I think we give a lot of money to France, and I don't think they're controlling the waters very well.
Absolutely.
And I think we need to be a bit stronger with Macron. I think Mike makes some very good points.
This is the first time we've had this is the first time, Josh, we've had a plan which takes people back to France, not back to their own country. Well, no, that was to Rwanda, Mike, not back to France. This is the first time we've actually had cooperation with France to take them back to a safe country.
May I say about Rwanda? Rwanda, there are only possibly 300 to 400 hotel spaces. When you take a plane load, theoretically, of rejected asylum seekers to Rwanda, and that's going to fill up the 400. What do you do after that?
Because the whole...
what do you do after that?
The whole point of the scheme was it expands. No, it does. Honestly, I've looked at the... It
expands to thousands within weeks, does it?
It does, absolutely. Does it? And we'd given Rwanda enough money to make that work.
290 million.
What's cheaper, Mike, a hotel and a flight to Rwanda, an indefinite stay there, or a boat trip back to France?
Rwanda by a million miles and millions of pounds, because once it started working and people were being sent to Rwanda, it would have completely killed the impetus for people to come to this country.
It was our own Supreme Court who deemed Rwanda to be unsafe.
No, in the end, we got a ruling that it wasn't. I'm sorry, the final ruling.
Let's take another call.
Flight was due to
Josh, thanks for your call. Let's take another one. Shell's in Bedfordshire. Shell, one in, one out. Is it true? Is that an accurate description of the way it works? I mean, is it going to work?
Probably not, no. I don't think so. So I used to work at an immigration centre in Bedford 20 years ago. I'm sure you must have heard of what that immigration centre is called. I was an officer there, and I just think the government needs to decide once and for all. I have every sympathy for genuine asylum seekers. Of course I do. But the government needs to decide, are these immigrants here illegally or not? OK.
Is that not what we've got here? And I think we're talking about Yarlswood, are we? The centre in Bedfordshire. OK. Is that not what we've now put in place, is a filter where we say we will look at your asylum, and if it's inadmissible, that sounds like not the whole process of going through appeals and the rest of it. If it's inadmissible, you will be sent back and you won't have the chance to come through legitimately. And we are establishing legitimate, safe ways of entering if you are genuinely at threat. That sounds like the filter that's in place now.
Yes, that is how it's supposed to be. So we are an island, correct? And we are surrounded by water. The idea is they are supposed to stop at the very last, safe country,
Absolutely.
at the very least. So they should be stopping at France, okay, and then they should go through the proper procedure, okay? And if they are genuine asylum seekers, they will follow that procedure and they will be grateful for everything we offer them.
It sounds, though, again, the detail is sketchy, but it sounds like that safe route that we've got there will match up people to where their families are, where they have some kind of structure, where they can start a proper family life, rather than come to, you know, economic migrants, as we say, those who are here for economic reasons.
Of course. There are many immigrants that come for our benefit system, and that's all they care about. You know, working at Yarlswood, so the plan is you would expect them to be grateful, okay? You think they'd be grateful for any help that we give them. But yet, when that riot happened at Yarlswood, did they care about us? Did they care about us officers? No, they never. We knew that something was going to happen.
Why did you know something was going to happen, Shell? Were you happy with the conditions at Yarlswood when you were working there?
Do you know, honestly, I've said this to my husband so many times. It was like a 5-star hotel. And there was all these do-gooders outside that are like, you've got them locked up. And I used to think, well, I wish I could afford to be locked up in a place like that. There was gyms, there was snooker rooms, there was PlayStations, you know, and the genuine asylum seekers appreciated everything we did. They were so grateful. But the ones that weren't were like, you officers, you know, they saw our uniform and they were like, you're nothing but scum. And when that riot happened, they didn't care. They got hold of a female officer and threw her out the upstairs window.
OK.
So, you know, please, the government needs to make a decision once and for all. Either they have entered our country illegally or not. OK, thanks for your call, Shell, and thanks for putting us in the picture. Nina, does this feel to you like the kind of filter that filters in those people who are, I don't know, grateful, is that the right word, or connected at least to this country, and filters out those who are the kind of troublemakers that Shell's talking about?
That hopefully is the plan. And the thing is, what people always say is, oh, well, they throw their papers away. Well, I assume that if you turn up here without any papers or passport or any identification, that you will be ripe just to go straight back, because that is...
But they don't. They don't. They go to detention centres.
Not yet.
But Yvette Cooper has not yet announced the full details of this scheme.
She has.
By the way,
she is announcing it's being ratified today, and she was on television this morning. So,
and I didn't hear her explain one single detail of the one-to-one.
Can I just, whether you picked up on this the way I did, there is the asylum process, which, if it fails, you get sent home, all the way home to where you came from, right?
It'll never happen.
Well, the key phrase here to me seems, if your asylum application is deemed inadmissible, right, that means you can't even put it in the first place. That sounds like it's short-circuiting this thing. And perhaps, like Nina says, if you haven't got papers, that's it. You're going back to France.
Because that's unfortunately a ruse that's been used to somehow slip through.
But it's so blocked up. Look, Yvette Cooper is the Home Secretary, told us a year ago, smash the gangs, smash the gangs. It was a slogan made up by an advertising agency. Now, a year on...
But how are you going to do that without France's cooperation?
Just by being rude to them. It's not turn off like a tap. You cannot turn it off like a...
What gang has she smashed? What gangs have they smashed? 25,000 more people this year.
You cannot just turn it off like a tap. They inherited this problem a year ago. They have, for instance, David Lamb has been to Syria to try and get a deal, a returns deal with Syria, like we have with Albania, that Rishi Sunak made that deal. Keir Starmer has cozied up to Meloni of Italy,
and given in to the French.
No, stop saying that.
I'm sorry, it's true. Even Macron came here and said, it's too comfortable in England. He told us.
Well, just let me finish about Melania.
Yeah.
Melania is completely poles apart from Keir Starmer politically, so that's nothing to do with it. He went there to try and find out what her plans are, and also sent the King and Camilla there. You know, they could have gone anywhere on their anniversary, but they went to Rome. Yeah. So this is soft power being used. There are all sorts of things happening. Yvette Cooper, for instance, last December was negotiating with the Germans to get the deal that she's now got. And
for the rubber boats. And the rubber boats are still coming.
But to make it illegal for there to be any trafficking, which it wasn't illegal since we left Brexit, because we're out of the EU. This whole thing has happened since Brexit.
Nina, you're a top journalist. You are a very top journalist.
How many people arrived in boats in 2019?
You are a very top journalist, and you must have seen the news programmes I've seen where a news reporter has gone over to France and interviewed the leader of a gang and asked him how he gets his smuggling operation together. If a news reporter can find a gang leader, why can't Yvette Cooper?
We have to stop there. We have to stop there, unfortunately. There's plenty still to talk about, and we will be dealing with this again in future programmes, don't worry.